Hello and welcome to Inside Grand Prix. Today, everything on the race in Hungary, including Mercedes pupil Pascal Wehrlein. Plus politics and Formula One, the story of the Hungarian Grand Prix. But first, Budapest, the city of spas. Shaped through centuries as a kingdom and empire, Hungary has developed its own unique charm. Add to that the 7.5 million tourists that flock to the city, significantly stirring up the Empress beside the Danube.
Ich bin ein sehr großer Fan von Ungarn und von Budapest.
I'm a huge fan of Hungary and Budapest.
Die Freundlichkeit der Menschen, das tolle Essen.
The friendliness of the people, the great food. They live here right on the water, beside the Danube.
An der Donau, der Aussicht dann auf den Palast.
Then there's the view of the palace, the parliament, the buildings. The city is very much shaped by its culture.
Die Stadt ist extrem geprägt, sage ich mal, durch ihre Kultur.
Culture my foot, back at the start of his career, a dream of Rosberg's youth. A genuine Budapester. A classically exquisite leather shoe from the capital. Then as now, Nico Rosberg simply likes things chic and slick. Custom made and fashionable so that the current leader doesn't trip up. I think it could become something really cool. Hot, by contrast, are the numerous thermal springs that were already being used by the Romans 2,000 years ago for relaxation and regeneration. The vapors from the center of the earth inspired Hungarians to a number of useful and entertaining inventions, including the dynamo, the ballpoint pen, and the Rubik's Cube. No wonder then that the Hungarian Grand Prix ranks as one of the must-see highlights on the calendar. Now, a man aiming to take Formula One by storm, Pascal Wehrlein. Next to the big stars, he's still quite inconspicuous. He politely stays in the background and practices a charming smile. Pascal Wehrlein is Mercedes' hero in waiting, who, since his childhood, has been geared towards just one thing: racing. His CV is straight from the drawing board: karting, ADAC Formula Masters, Formula 3, then in 2013, youngest DTM driver, and in 2015, youngest DTM champion ever, and thus now Formula One.
Richtig cool, man realisiert auf jeden Fall, dass man sehr weit...
It's really cool. I certainly realize I've come a long way and achieved my dream, my goal. Right now I naturally want to do well in Formula One too, but if I think back 10 years, I'd have happily dreamt that things would be as they are now.
Hätte ich es mir natürlich so gerne erträumt, wie es heute ist.
After 2 years as test and reserve driver, Mercedes are finally releasing their protege into the wilds of the Formula One jungle.
Ich habe auch alles dafür gemacht.
I also did everything to achieve it, never left anything out, always gave 100%, concentrated on it fully, and never doubted I could do it. Obviously, you have good days and bad days, but you have to learn from that and always give your maximum. And yes, now I've done it.
Ja, jetzt habe ich es geschafft.
Pascal got the seat in Manor and needs to prove that he has the caliber of being a successful Formula One driver in a different team, in a smaller team, with the right people, but it's going to be a different structure than at Mercedes.
The youngster first has to sweat. Training, as we know, is everything. At Manor, he's to learn the ropes, develop into a team leader, and ultimately to guide the also-rans up into the main pack. In the meantime, however, he's still got a fair bit to learn.
Man muss sich erstmal mit dem ganzen Thema anfreunden.
You first need to get used to the whole thing and to feel so at home in your job that you're totally on top of the weekend processes, that you know how to get the best out of the tires and the optimum way to treat the car and the engine. Then when he gets a better car, he has to hopefully utilize this experience, just as Fernando Alonso and Mark Webber did before him, learning in bad cars and utilizing that in good ones. The rookie now has been living his Formula One dream for 10 races. I always believed, always knew or hoped that I'd one day have what it takes to become a Formula One driver. The young German with a mum from Mauritius is not yet one of Formula One's really big names, but if he now jumps well through all the hoops, that ought to be the next step in his perfectly planned career. And now, the first Grand Prix behind the Iron Curtain. (1986). The Iron Curtain keeps Eastern Europe sealed off from the West. Most cars on the road have only two-stroke engines. Then, a surprise. Legends like Ayrton Senna rock the Eastern Bloc with 1,000 horsepower. The Hungaroring was the first Eastern European circuit, and back then it was a huge sensation. The East German fans too had someone to cheer for. When I drove there in the very first race, the Iron Curtain was still in place, and I was the only West German, and around 100,000 East German fans cheered me on. That was really very good. A German driver and German team, Eric Sikowski's team, Zakspeed. It was definitely a great era, but it was certainly difficult too. We built the car, engine and gearbox ourselves, like Ferrari, and we took a very different approach. Nevertheless, I think it was very successful, bold and really not bad at all. Off the track, time for international understanding.
It was a lot of action, on and off track. A lot of people from behind the Iron Curtain had the opportunity to actually cross over and come and see the first Formula One race of their life. We had a lot of fans in the eastern countries sending out envelopes with postcards to sign, and so there we had a contact with them at last, and they had a contact with us at last for them. It was a big happening.
Besides big happenings, lots of small ones. One man recalls these particularly well. Peter Faluvegi, then head marshal, today clerk of the course at the Hungaroring. He used to have the honor of chauffeuring the legendary Ayrton Senna.
The driver is not allowed to drive on the track except the sections. And he asked me that we must go to the track and see what's happened at turn 10. And I go to an official car, I drive, he sits right for me, and when we go to the track, his eyes closed, and it seems that he try to collect more informations, and he concentrate and he tried to move the legs, to throttle and to brake and so on and so on. For me, it was a very enthusiastic emotion.
Formula One led the way and politics followed. Despite the Cold War, Bernie Ecclestone brought the event 4 more times to the hot Hungarian asphalt before in 1989 the Iron Curtain fell.
It should have happened before, God only knows why it hasn't, but it's really good. It's good for the fans, good for everybody.
Ecclestone's pioneering work has been honoured with multiple accolades in Budapest. A road leading to the circuit has even been named after him, for most of the time, however, without a correct sign. Because it gets stolen every day. The spectators pinch it. No, we've got 4 or 5 specially for one weekend. We only put it up for the Grand Prix. Much cherished, a circuit with tradition.
But sometimes this circuit like a retro circuit, because some part of the track are very old.
Indeed they are, for saying the first Grand Prix was in 1986 is not entirely right. 50 years earlier, in 1936, Budapest was rocking for the first time to the sound of powerful engines. Auto Union, the all-powerful German team led by top driver Bernd Rosenmeier, only narrowly beaten by Italian Tazio Nuvolari. The Grand Prix in Hungary 80 years later. Formula One now unimaginable without it. Now, 3 pros take us around the Hungaroring.
Hi, I'm Nico Halkenberg, driver for Sahara Force India. Welcome to Hungary. We're in Budapest, a very impressive, very pretty city. Usually it's always very hot when we come there in July, just before the summer break. It's a great place to be. The city is amazing and lots of stuff to see there, and it's really a place that you should visit if you haven't been there.
So when I think of Hungary, first of all I think of the immense heat that we get there most of the time, and that's really the sort of race where I'm doing all my training for. And that I'm physically up to it,
We need to make sure the car's as fit as you are.
That's true, yeah. From your side, it's exactly the same.
Circuit
even the car is pushed to the absolute limit there with the temperatures, yeah. So it's probably very similar, and both similar challenges even.
It's a race that I've won quite a few times, so it's definitely the circuits of which I'm most confident at.
Starting a lap. DRS as you come across the line. Nice long straight, really important late braking into turn 1. But you ought to hit the apex nice and in the middle, and then really try and get on the power again on DRS. And braking nice and deep into turn 2 is important to hug the apex here, and also really important the exit. And flat out through turn 3, use all the curve on the exit.
You come through turn 4, the fast left, and going into the right. This part is almost the trickiest. But then you also could say the last corner, which goes on forever. And it's very easy to kind of go in too deep and lose the exit. It's a circuit about braking, so heavy braking. Getting the brake balance right. The last sector is always tough because the tires are so hot.
The track, it's very demanding. It's got lots of corners in there, and as a driver you don't really get any breaks in Budapest, because it's really corner after corner after corner, and there's very little time really to have a breather.
There's not much time to like relax on the straights, so it's quite and that together with the heat. That's the reason.
You really relax on the straights?
Yeah, I chill out, think of other things, and well, not really, but of course, I'll take more of a breather if the straight is longer, and in Budapest the straights are really short.
You have to be really aggressive, and it's a bit more like a go-kart circuit. You can really throw around the car. You really have to attack the braking zones, you have to be really aggressive, throwing the car into the corner and then trying to still get the exit. Looking forward to getting out there and seeing the fans. I've had some great races there. I'm really looking forward to going back this year.
After his 10-second penalty in Silverstone, Nico Rosberg leads with only 1 point, chased by Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Räikkönen lags behind but manages to stay in front of Red Bull. A similar situation in team standings, Mercedes leads in front of Ferrari and Red Bull by a wide margin. Nico Rosberg's increasing the gap in the fastest lap award. Only Lewis Hamilton's able to follow with 2 scores. Finally, Williams has a competitor. Hamilton's Mercedes team successfully completes the fastest pit stop and is now strongest rival. The drivers can expect a hot race in Hungary's sun. The hardest braking point on the Hungaroring lies ahead of turn 1. The Formula 1 drivers decelerate by 254 km per hour in 1.56 seconds over just 144 meters. 2,453 kilowatts of brake power released in the process. The driver is subjected to 5.5 G while having to push with 158 kilograms onto the brake. A quick pit stop, then the latest from the paddock. And heavenly protection. We take a close look at the Halo system. Don't go away.